In this video, I'm going to show you how to dual boot macOS and Ubuntu on your Mac in a few minutes. This is a step-by-step installation guide that helps you to run Ubuntu natively on older Macs. Keep in mind, this guide is only for Intel Macs. If your Mac is powered by Apple Silicon, check out the link in the description for detailed information on installing Linux on M1 or M2 Mac. That being said, let's get this video started. Before installing Ubuntu alongside macOS on your Mac, it's important to understand a few things. Ubuntu is an open source operating system that can run on most Intel-based Macs but is not officially supported by Apple. This means that you may encounter some issues with drivers, such as problems with speakers, Bluetooth, and battery drain. While there are some workarounds available, it's important to be aware of these potential issues before you begin the installation process. Additionally, it's important to note that this guide is intended for Macs that do not have a T2 chip. If your Mac does have a T2 chip, you will need to take an additional step before installing Ubuntu. Specifically, you will need to disable a feature that prevents the Ubuntu installer from booting from external media. To enable external booting on a Mac with T2 chip, first restart your Mac and hold the Command+R keys to boot into recovery mode. From the menu bar, choose Utilities, then select Startup Security Utility. In the Startup Utility, select the option to allow booting from external media to successfully install Ubuntu on your Mac. To demonstrate this video, I will be using my MacBook Pro 2017. Now, this device does not have a T2 security chip, so I can easily boot from external media without any additional steps. Now let's get into installing Ubuntu on MacBook. First things first, to install Ubuntu on your Mac, you need to reserve at least 30 GB of free space on your drive. This is crucial for the Linux system to function properly. Then open the terminal on your MacBook and type a command that will list out all the partitions of your Mac. Now take a screenshot of all the partitions, as we will be referring to this later on. Next, we are going to shrink the free space for the Linux system. To do this, go ahead, open a search bar by pressing Command plus Spacebar, then type Disk Utility and open. From the menu bar, choose Show All Devices and select the main drive, which is Apple SSD. Then click on Partition and click on the plus button to add a partition. Allocate the desired amount of free space for Linux using the slider. I'm going to stick to 60 GB for this tutorial. You can name the partition Linux or any desired name and select MS-DOS FAT as the format. While creating the partition, your Mac may freeze for a while, but don't interrupt anything until it completes. Once the operation is successful, you will be able to see the Linux partition on the sidebar. It's time to download the Ubuntu ISO. Open Safari and head over to the Ubuntu website and click on the download button. The latest versions of Ubuntu at the time of recording this video are 22.04 and 22.10. I always recommend using the LTS release, which is meant to be supported for 5 years. But if you want to experience the latest features of the GNOME desktop, choose Ubuntu 22.10 or any non-LTS release. The installation process will be similar for any version of Ubuntu. While the ISO is downloading in the background, head over to this website and download and install Balena Etcher on your Mac. Once you have done that, connect your USB drive with at least 8 gigs of free space and use Balena Etcher to create a bootable USB installer with the Ubuntu ISO. It may take a few minutes for this process to complete. Once it's done, connect your power adapter and restart your Mac. While it's restarting, hold the Option key until you enter the boot menu. Here you will see the bootable USB drive, which will be in orange color and named as EFI boot. Now using the arrow keys, highlight this drive and press enter to boot the Ubuntu installer. Now go ahead and click on Install Ubuntu. Next, choose your keyboard language and connect your Mac to the internet using Wi-Fi. Once it's connected to the Wi-Fi network, click on Continue. Now choose the normal installation option and make sure you tick these two options and continue. The installation tab will show two options. The first one will erase macOS and install Ubuntu, so do not attempt to use this option. Instead, we will stick to the second option, which lets you create partitions manually for Ubuntu. Go ahead, choose something else and continue. Now, this will take you to the partition page. Here you can see all of the internal and external drives. You need to be very careful at this point. On the top, look for the partition that says FAT32 with the free space you created. In my case, it's the blue one with 64 GB of free space. Under the main NVMe drive, this is the free space we're going to use to create two partitions. Now in your case, it may say dev SDA or NVMe. Just go ahead, select the free space and click on minus to make it unallocated. Now select the free space, then click on plus button and enter the size of 1000 megabytes. This could be the first partition known as the EFI partition where the Ubuntu bootloader is going to be installed. Then again select the free space, click on the plus button and use the entire free space to create a root partition. We can create a swap partition the same way, but for now I don't need it because my Mac is having a decent amount of RAM. And that's it, we have done creating two partitions which are EFI and root. If you notice, the first EFI partition is already there, which is related to Mac OS. Don't touch this one at any point. Now go ahead, select the EFI partition that we created and choose the bootloader installation. Tell the installer to install grub on the newly created EFI partition. Once it's done, click on install and accept the changes to the disk and continue. You go ahead, choose your country and create a user account. Once it's done, click on continue to start installing Ubuntu. Now this will take a couple of minutes, so sit back, relax and grab some drinks. Once the installation is complete, click on Restart. While it's restarting, remove the USB drive. It should boot into Ubuntu automatically. Keep in mind, after setting up dual boot on your Mac, the startup disk is set to Ubuntu. And voila, now you can see we have successfully installed Ubuntu on Mac. Just go ahead and enter your password to log in. I just want to say in one word, Ubuntu on Mac is very impressive. If your Mac is older and can't handle Mac OS anymore, switching to Ubuntu can give you a top-notch performance boost. The most of the applications I have tried work fantastically without any issues. The only problem I'm facing on my Mac is with the sound and battery draining. You may also run into issues with some drivers, but don't worry, any issues you have can be easily solved by searching on Google or Stack Overflow. If you're having battery draining or overheating issues, I will show you how to fix that. First, head over to this link and copy and paste this line of code into the terminal. Once it's installed, change your directory to auto CPU and execute this script to set up auto CPU frequency on Ubuntu. This is a very useful tool that actively monitors the battery state, CPU usage, and temperatures, ultimately allowing you to improve battery life without making any compromises. Once it's installed, you can type this line to learn the usage of the command. Now let's go ahead and activate it to run as a daemon service by running this command. You can check the status of the service by running this command. And also run this command to see the real-time statistics of the system resources. Unfortunately, I could not make the speakers work, so if any one of you finds a solution, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you decide to switch back to Mac OS, first turn off Ubuntu, then press and hold the Option key until you see the boot menu. This is where you can see both Mac OS and Ubuntu entries. You can choose Macintosh to boot into it. This is a perfect dual boot setup on Intel Mac with Ubuntu and Mac OS. As a bonus for this video, I will show you how to delete Ubuntu Linux from the dual boot setup and return to just using macOS. First, boot back into macOS and open the terminal, then type dyskutil space list and take a look at the internal drive. Now the partitions 3 and 4 are the main volumes for Ubuntu Linux. Compare these two partitions with the screenshot you took during the Ubuntu installation process to ensure you're identifying the correct partitions. Next, look for the Ubuntu EFI partition. Now in my case, disk 0S3 is the identifier of this partition. Now in your case, it may be different, so make sure to note down the correct identifier. Keep in mind, don't use the first EFI partition which is related to Mac OS. Like I said, in my case, disk 0S3 is the Ubuntu EFI partition and this is the one we need to erase. To do so, type sudo space dyskutil space erase volume and make sure it's uppercase letter V, then space jhfs plus, all in the uppercase, space empty, which is going to name the volume, then /dev/ with the correct partition identifier for your setup. Then press enter to erase this volume. Once it's done, head over to the disk utility. From the menu bar, choose View and click on Show All Devices. From the sidebar, choose Apple SSD and click on the partition. If you see two partitions that were created for Ubuntu, select them one by one and click on Erase. If you see a last partition named as Recovery, do not touch it. You go ahead, select this partition and click on minus. Then select the main one and choose to delete. Once they are deleted, the free space will be added back to the Mac OS. Finally, open the startup disk settings and change the boot order. You can choose Mac OS to boot automatically whenever you reboot your system. And that's it. Now you know how to properly set up a dual boot with Ubuntu and Mac OS on your Mac. Let me know what do you think about it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. This has been KSKRL. I will see you in the next one.